A Ukrainian military official says the front lines have grown by about 120 miles in the past year, with the battlefield stretching nearly 800 miles in total. It comes as Russian forces have switched from a large-scale offensive in Ukraine to using drones, missiles, and powerful glide bombs in smaller assaults. After meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky at the UN General Assembly Tuesday, President Trump posted to Truth Social that Ukraine is, quote, in a position to fight and win back all of its territory with the help of the European Union. Zelensky later told Fox News he was, quote, a little bit surprised by Trump's comments. For more, let's bring in CBS News national security contributor Sam Vinograd. Sam, great to have you. What do you make of President Trump's sudden shift in tone about Ukraine's position in the war?
Well, President Trump is clearly frustrated that President Putin hasn't agreed to the next stage of negotiations that Trump and Putin discussed at the Alaska summit just 5 weeks ago. Because of that, President Trump has now shifted his tone and has said that Ukraine doesn't have to give up territory to Russia, but rather that it could win all of its territory back. That's a big shift for the president and likely music to Ukrainians' ears. However, President Trump's statement said that Ukraine was in a position to win back its territory with the support of the European Union. He did not say with the support of the United States. So I was at the UN General Assembly in New York this week. There were certainly a lot of concerns voiced by folks in New York City that President Trump was signaling a withdrawal of U.S. support for Ukrainian military efforts against Russia.
So going back to winning back its territory, what needs to happen, Sam, for Ukraine to be able to do that?
The Ukrainians are exploring a range of tactics to try to maybe not in the first instance win back all of its territory, but to start really making material advances against Russia. President Zelensky, for example, has threatened that Ukraine could launch drone incursions further into Russian territory, and Ukraine could seek approval to launch military strikes further into Russian territory as well. It would likely need more advanced weapons from the Europeans and from the United States. So I think a heavier reliance on drones, launching weapons further into Russia, and frankly, just ongoing security assistance because Russia is playing a long game here. Russia is trying to starve the Ukrainian war machine. And to keep the war going and to make real advances, Ukraine needs money and it needs military assets.
Sam, on another front, on Wednesday, U.S. fighter jets scrambled to intercept Russian warplanes flying near the Alaskan Air Defense Identification Zone. The same thing happened on three separate occasions in August, and Russian aircraft have also entered Polish and Estonian airspace in recent weeks. What is going on there?
Russia has a history of these kind of maneuvers, but they are clearly feeling more brazen. They're doing them more often and going deeper and longer into other countries' territory.
All right, Sam Vinograd breaking it all down for us. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.